amplify regenerative arts and culture, basically.
Exactly.
Give a platform to it. Going in, PR lives. Live to the whole world. Going in live.
1328, we activate regenerative consciousness. 1328, 13 moons and 28 days, yeah. 1328, we activate regenerative consciousness. 1328,
So we have the ability to be the media that we actually want to see, what we actually want to amplify or create in the world.
Bring forth those frequencies. Bring forward great minds and a lot of solutions.
As we really look at, how do we get where we are and where do we want to go from here? Where do we really see ourselves going?
It's a mantra or prayer that is, if you can love enough and trust enough and let go enough, then God will work miracles in you, through you. Then the humorous side of things that you
Greetings, everyone. Apologies for the abrupt start. But welcome to PR1328 Live. It is absolutely live and direct. And we're grateful to be here at yet another intersection in our creative process. What's up, Bilal?
Yeah, giving thanks.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Indeed.
Yep. Appreciating life as usual.
As usual. So what else is happening there in Atlanta, on the Atlanta side? What's happening?
Yeah, from what I see, it's just a lot of good vibes, you know what I'm saying? I feel that move towards summer, coming and,
Yeah.
people making plans, visioning, and yeah, I think it's just a good feeling to be back in Atlanta with family.
Absolutely.
And yeah, like the cultural vibes at the West End, and I'm seeing also a lot of filming going on out here now. It's like this is the new Hollywood. So
Okay.
there's a fuse of that going on, the culture and the new Hollywood. So it's interesting to see how it's all unfolding.
So the term Hollywood, is it literally being called the new Hollywood, or is there another term for Atlanta that's like specific to Atlanta? Like, is there like a
Yeah, I'm
term?
not sure what the name is yet, though. I mean, as of right now, it looks like
Perryville?
Tyler Perry is. Yeah, it looks
Perryville.
like Perrywood or something. I don't know, because it looks like Tyler Perry is dominating,
Right. Yeah,
things right now in that field.
Yeah, he's got his presence. No doubt about it. Wow, that's powerful. Well, it's good to hear the creative energy is flowing and you're in the mix right there, obviously. It's a beautiful frequency, a portal of Atlanta. It's a special place. I actually had a chance to connect with Wanique Shabazz a couple of days ago, and he shared with me that he was sharing our broadcast from A Day at a Time that we interviewed Jewel Pookrum and him. He shared it last night on WRFG. He aired the whole interview. It was profound. So I know even that vibration coming out of Atlanta from WRFG to the world was, an indication of what's happening over there. And we had a chance to talk a little bit about the Day at a Time coming up, obviously later in this 13 moon year. But I think before we go too far forward, maybe we want to take a moment to reflect on what just happened. Let's acknowledge the monumental event that we all collaboratively presented. Let's just talk about that for a few moments.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Give thanks to you and Michelle again, and just all the works, and
give thanks to you for the
yeah,
sound
just
vibration.
everybody involved. There was so many involved from across the world, and it's just beautiful to see.
Yes. For those who weren't able to catch it,
there's definitely many highlights.
Oh, yeah. And for those that want to catch it, they can certainly visit us at youtube.com/Planet Restoration. The entire replay is available there. It was almost a 7-hour broadcast when all was said and done. But we definitely want to, again, thank all of those who contributed to make it possible, because it was absolutely a collective effort. Beautiful, beautiful experience. A time is art, vision board experience.
Exactly. And one thing about it that I love is that, it's a reflection of a community that's growing and a vision board that's expanding, and this PR1328 is a extension and a reflection of that as well, unfolding,
Right
as well.
on.
So in that light, to say, as Mama Kali was on there, or as Phoenix
Rising.
What's her name?
Phoenix
Rising.
Dragon
was on.
Rising.
We did have an episode that expounded.
Exactly.
And on this episode, we plan to look at some of the things that Mama Kali was hitting on, which I love that. So I'll let you.
Exactly. No, absolutely. I was just going to say the name, Phoenix's name is Phoenix Rising at the official Phoenix Rising on IG. And she's been a former guest here on PR1328. So yeah, that was definitely amazing to have the synthesis of these energies, these powerful perspectives come together in such an orchestra. It was beautiful. And yeah, I know today we looked at the idea of the Polestar prophecy and wanted to go back and revisit some of that, because a lot was shared. The interview you did with Mama Kali, you only really provided a clip of what's a much larger project you all are working on. And we were really graced to be able to show a clip, a window, a view into this worldview or this cosmic perspective. And it was so important. And the synchronicities have been so phenomenal in real time. As you and I know, the past several weeks, we've had so many synchronicities that connect the prophecy that she's talking about, that's a part of the Cosmic Prophecies that's happening now, evidently, to also the awareness in our field, in our awareness about an eco-village in Ethiopia that we've been made aware of through our other elder, Mama Audrey, who has adopted that village a long while back. And, now we're in a relationship to help support raising awareness about this village, which is very sacred, a very sacred space on the planet. So I'm excited to share more about that with the listening audience right now, too. So again, thank you all for tuning in to PR 1328 Live. And I think what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit as we do each show. We like to talk about the signature of the day. We know we're in a very auspicious window called the Mystic Column right now currently. And I'm going to go to a website, a great resource. We'll bring it into view for everybody to see. But a great resource online if you want more information. There are several resources we can refer people to, and we like to, reference different ones of them. So today we're going to jump into one of them. Let me look here, what we do here. So we're going to bring up a website, pull it in, and I'll tell you the name in 1 second, but it's a great reference here. So the website name is hunabku.me, and we'll go ahead in and pull myself. Got to move some screens around here, but we'll go in and have a little conversation about today's signature.
So we're in the Blue Monkey Wave spell?
Yeah, we're in the Blue Monkey Wave spell, which just started a couple days ago, actually. So let me see where we are now. This is actually showing us tomorrow. I don't want to show us tomorrow quite yet. Hold on 1 second. Because these folks are like in the future, literally. So today is actually the Electric Skywalker day. So we're going to bring this up right here. So as you can see, the Electric Skywalker is today's signature. And just to share with folks, we can read through the affirmation, which appears here. It says, Red Electric Skywalker, Kin 133, I activate in order to explore. Bonding wakefulness. I seal the output of space with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of navigation. Again, Red Electric Skywalker, activating in order to explore, bonding wakefulness, sealing the output of space with the electric tone of service, guided by the power of the Red Earth, by Mother Earth, by navigation. And I think that that's a really fitting thing for us to talk about, considering the nature of the broadcast that we had, in the fact that it was really an emphasis on aligning with Red Earth, aligning with Arya in that sense. So I think that's an auspicious observation there as we look at that. And as you said, right, we're in a new wave spell of the blue magnetic monkey, and the blue magnetic monkey begins right at the halfway mark of the Zolkin cycle. So it's an observation when we look at the Zolkin, for example. I'll just pull this up quickly as well, just to show. But we understand that Kin 131, as you said, the blue monkey wave spell is what just began. When we look at that here, we can see the blue monkey at 131 is in the very center. It's basically centered with the one before it, which is 130, which is the cosmic dog. Cosmic dog and the blue monkey are the very center point of the Zolkin. What's also important to note, though, is if you look one prior to that, you have Kin 129. That was the day of our event. And that occurs within what's called the 33rd Harmonic, which comprises those 4 days in a row from 129 to 132, which was yesterday. So that harmonic is a very special window that we come to understand in terms of just the harmonic arrangement. When you understand that the sequence of days, that harmonic 33 is powerful because we're also in the 33rd year since the harmonic convergence of 1987. So we begin to see these little parallels of information and how these things align and synchronize. They become markers for us as we sort of navigate with this worldview, you know?
Exactly. They layer up in a beautiful harmonic pattern.
Absolutely. And that's why we're so excited about this knowledge, because it actually fosters the ability to create beauty in your life. Like, an awareness to these codes also then is reflected in one's life. If time is art, then your life is an opportunity of actually co-creating beauty with the planet, with nature as it evolves. So that's kind of a snapshot of what we're
and I feel like it gives us a beautiful definition to the reality, to the natural reality that we're experiencing as well. Like, as it speaks of the electric tone of service, you know, that's a beautiful way to think of service, you know, as well, even.
Exactly.
So there's so much there.
Yeah, and I want to encourage people who really want to be able to comprehend this language. It is a new language for most of us, right? This language of the solar seals and the tones. So it's the seals, which are the 20 seals. Like, you're a white wizard, I'm a world bridger, you know, Ishel is a warrior. So those are reflections of the solar seals, of which there are 20. And then you have the 13 tones of creation. So when applied, 20 multiplied by 13 is 260, which forms the entire Zolkin of 260 days, or 260 aspects. Because the thing about the Zolkin is it's not just a linear count of days, although it is that, but it's also, if you look at each of those kin, not only as one day, but it's also equivalent to 20 years. Then we begin to understand, we zoom out, that we're looking at sequences of generations. So if 20 years is approximately a generation, one day is equivalent to a generation on a fractal level. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to begin to apply those mathematics and that lens into our own lives, into comprehending purpose. You know, as Wanik refers to it as the galactic purpose signature, the GPS. So you have a direction, you have instruction, information on the direction in one's life and one's destiny path. It's an auspicious oracle in that way. And so it's a beautiful thing to learn. So for those that really want to comprehend it better, I really encourage you to learn the 20 tribes or solar seals and the 13 tones. Because if you know both of those, you can literally navigate the whole construction. You can navigate the whole operational system. And that's the basis of it, essentially. So,
and I feel like it gives us a tool to observe and model nature.
Absolutely.
You know, which is what we want to move into, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, more of observing and modeling as nature does, you know, in a regenerative way.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And so, you know, there's so many things that come to mind when you say that. And part of it is that this modeling of nature is a recognition, again, of these generations. So when we say regeneration, we are literally talking about the ancestors. We're talking about those generations to come. And it's the process of consciously connecting and co-creating with nature for the regenerative capacities of the generations. So it literally is about cultivation of life in terms of our ability to regenerate, but then also knowing that that 20-year window is a reflection of a kin number that is a value for one day, but also a value for 20 years. It's amazing. Like, again, the whole expansion that does. So then when we consider you and I when we combine our kin numbers, I'm 126, you're 134. When you add that together, you get 260. So that becomes the yellow cosmic sun at the very end of the Zolkin count, right? Now that's one day, but that's also a 20-year period. When we look at the long count and the great cycle, that was a 20-year period from 1992 to 2012, reflected on that cycle, as well as it happens to be one day every 260 days. So it's really a phenomenal thing that expands our sort of ability to navigate time, literally time traveling forward, backward, within, beyond. It expands the consciousness and facilitates that.
Exactly. And I love that it presents not only quantity, though also quality. So
Exactly.
That's as to say that we're in the blue monkey wave spell. Some of the quality is magic, play, illusion.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
You know, the Gregorian calendar more of just gives quantity.
Right.
Though to give quality to the quantity is another shift. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, and that blue monkey is a very special one in the sense that, as you said, it's magic, it's play, it's illusion, and it's also the solar seal of Jose Arguelles. He was the spectral monkey, kin 11. And so monkey is the 11th in the sequence of 20, and he happened to be the 11th of that 11th sequence. So by that, I mean he was the 11th tone, which is the spectral tone, and the 11th solar seal. So he was therefore 1111. And we know from people's consciousness, when you see 11 and 11, it's usually an inference to a spiritual gateway or expanded comprehension of the magic, essentially, of the illusion in which we're navigating. So you can appreciate some of the subtle, like you said, qualities that communicates by, clearly perceiving what it may be inferring. And that's the beauty of it, too. It's not like there's one concise definition for these things. It actually invites your intuition. It invites your creativity. There's no like static definition like it is this or that. It's really a creative interpretation. And being that we're all each creating this whole-on experience as we go and as we perceive, it's open, it's free will to create. Now, we've evolved enough to know that we don't want to create destruction. We want to actually create beauty. that's what we want to encourage, is create beauty and a greater synthesis of this knowledge and our capacities. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're doing here. I mean, this whole experience of planet restoration really is, it's been a sort of an instruction from the ancestors, for those who are familiar with, where this inspiration comes from. It came from a gathering of elders and young leaders when we were younger leaders ourselves, 16 years ago, in the year 2005 in Georgia, in the state where you are, in the Tiger Mountain and the Cherokee Mountains in Tiger, Georgia. And, we were initiated through ceremony with a myriad of different elders, including Credo Mutwa's wife, Mama Virginia. We had Baba Kwame Sunhorse was there as we walked across the coals, and we did nearly a 15, 16-hour sweat lodge, and just other experiences that we shared as a collective of young leaders and elders coming together, to really share in a sacred space. And the vision for planet restoration, landed on us in a way. I remember, I think we were sitting outside in a minivan, having a moment of reflection. And it was like, we just got that call of this is your charge to do,
Exactly.
And so,
that sacred moment.
Yeah. And since that time, I mean, this is what we've been, stewarding in many ways, and having over the years, holding the vision like a sacred obligation of sorts, to bring this forward.
And I feel like one of the important things that you said is that it was spearheaded, and rooted by a great elder, Mama Audrey.
Yeah. And
all along the path, we've been, we've had great pillars, as elders, that have supported us, that have honed our wisdom and our knowledge. And I feel like it proceeds with us, with this endeavor and all we do.
Absolutely.
So, love it.
Absolutely, man. It's an inspiration and a great privilege to have this, support of a network of people who are actively supporting each other. Like we mentioned, Baba Wanik and, Mama Audrey, Mama Kali, brother, Ross Kofi and the community there, and just being able to put a little spotlight in our broadcast on what they're doing there at Shamba, at the farms, reflecting that, really amplifying this regenerative future that we're a part of. So with that said, I really do encourage people to look into hunabku.me if you want to learn more. Also, we encourage you to visit 13moon.com, which is another one of our allies, and they produce what's called the Galactic Calendar. So when you hear us say the 13 Moon Calendar or the Galactic Calendar or the Synchronometer, they're all the same thing. They are the measure and the synthesis of a 1328 calendar and a 1320 calendar. And combined, they synchronize with each other every 52 years. So what that does consciously is that puts us into alignment and arrangement with Sirius, And as we kind of talk about these terms, I know Atlanta has been a very advanced community in many ways. I mean, Wanik has been stewarding a real galactic awareness there since the 90s. I mean, he back then was on the board of directors of the Law of Time, and in his role, on Map Time Jazz, and as a program manager at the station, and in his own right as a broadcaster, he's done an incredible job over the years of helping pique the audience's awareness about the expansiveness and the consciousness that's actually, really here for us. And listening back last night, as I did, to the interview that I did with Dr. Pukram and Wanik, I was reminded of how advanced the Atlanta community is generally. And with pillars like these in the community there, how could you not be, right? So again, really speaking of Dr. Jewel Pukram as another such elder, and others. I remember when 4 years before then, we brought Wanik and Dr. Pukram to the United Nations to initiate the great calendar change petition we were launching there to change the calendar to a 13-month, 28-day calendar, Harmonic standard. And so they came and were speakers on a panel to a Nexus audience, which is next generation philanthropists and change makers and young influencers, just to plant the seeds in their minds so they could become aware. They would have never been exposed to a Dr. Pukram, outside of maybe that audience, but the moment happened. And Queen Afua was right there in the audience. So speaking of our elders, Queen Afua was in New York and came out to support the whole conversation with us. So these are pretty epic moments.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, just to mention from another angle, another great elder that I want to big up and mention that's on our side in the family is Baba Bilal Sunni Ali. He's an actual Black Panther, and he actually has a movement. And I saw, that you posted something regarding Mumia. Mumia Ali
Abu Jamal.
Jamal, yes. He actually has a campaign about freeing the political prisoners, and though he's an excellent, amazing jazz musician.
Oh yeah.
And when I first met him, there was always legends about him knowing how to do the continuous breath, to where he plays this thing and he knows the continuous breath to where he doesn't have to stop and breathe. Because he's breathing in and out at the same time.
As he's playing.
Right. So these amazing jazz musicians, and there's more of them in his family. The first person that introduced me to Agnihotra was actually one of his brothers. And he's another master of mine, named Baba Shahid. So, Yahu Yahe, that's what he would say. Yahu
Yahe. Wow.
Yes.
That's facts.
So, that's just to speak of some of the great elders in the community, in the family,
Absolutely. Yeah, as we continue to speak of our elders and venerate these great ones, obviously we know recently was the birthlight of our now ancestor, Elder Ima Deborah, Yahweh. So I know that we want to big up her presence because, in particular, she was instrumental in our brotherhood, at a certain time in the past, and was just really a powerful presence. She and her children, who became our family, who are still to this day our family, and just the honor of being with her at such a very critical time in her life, as she was crossing that rainbow bridge, so to speak, to the next level of her ability to have presence and support. And I know you and I have had several the mothership, and you and I have had several auspicious moments where we could feel her presence, and in light of it being, related to the calendar, because she's kin 222, which is the white magnetic wind, kin 222. So, we've known of her presence to be with us certainly in these, recent years as an ancestor, as one guiding, in the heights with this transition for the whole planet. And it's interesting you mentioned, Baba Sunni Ali. Now, I know when I was initially introduced to him by you, as I recall, he was en route to Belize, wasn't he? He was going to Belize. And I know that some of the family from the Washington, D.C. community as well, with the UNIA, are part of that, maybe part of the same community that have some projects happening in Belize actively. I'd be really interested to kind of learn more about how their progress is going, because obviously that represents.
They're in the community. We'll definitely have to spotlight that part of the family.
Absolutely.
In divine time.
In divine time, absolutely. But that's exciting because another elder of ours whom you've met in person, Ingrid Walton, who was also a participant with this broadcast, Align with Earth, is herself in process of relocating to Belize as well. So maybe there's even some inroads there for her to meet and come to learn about some other folks out there who are, really helping steward and architect this regenerative future right there from the ground up. So that would be really interesting. I think, as we mentioned Ima Deborah, though, it's really appropriate if we go ahead and actually play the song Mothership. I know you mentioned we want to pull that up for the broadcast today, just to share that sound vibration with the family. This is actually from a project that we put out several years ago. So, it's very precious for us. And, I'm certainly interested in seeing how we can maybe re-release this project as well, because it really truly feels timeless in a sense. And we want to shout out our sister Raquel Yave on the vocals of this production from Mystic Column. And yeah, man.
As well as
Brother Bless. Yeah, that's Raquel's brother, Mama Ima Deborah's son, master chef, amazing vocalist in his own right. And Ima Deborah, who we hear her vocals as she's narrating on this track, which was such an honor because in prior years, she was a celebrated reggae artist, a reggae performer, and real high priestess of the culture in a real way, like a real sacred woman walking with a lot of power.
And a key member of I think their Grammy-winning group, Arrested Development.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Because in fact, we met Speech. I know I met Speech through Ima Deborah. There in the Atlanta area. We went out to his church and everything. I think we were both there for some of that activity, if I remember correctly. But yeah, definitely. Because she had a long-standing relationship.
Male and female.
Okay, right. That was, I mean, how groundbreaking that was. Certainly what Speech and that whole crew did. Dion Ferris early on, and just everything. With the whole community there. But that, again, is why this is so special, and music plays such an important role in the culture. And so that's part of why PR involves the music. Yeah, please.
That even weaved in your relationship with Erykah Badu, our sister, within the community.
Yeah, we, again, attributed, in my case, to Ima Deborah, just having had the chance to really meet Erykah in a very sacred way, obviously it was during the transition of Ima Deborah from her body. So, I mean, you don't really get more sacred than that. And I'm obviously, with all the various circles in the culture, I'd been around Erykah on the periphery, but she and I had a moment where, on, I think, a day or two before Ima transitioned the body, we were together doing Reiki with Ima, just to help support her in that process. And it was very auspicious, obviously, just to work with such a powerful medicine woman as herself in Erykah, but being in service to such a powerhouse and a deep and expansive love as Ima Deborah carries, and just to be kind of tapped as a spiritual son in a way. I felt like we were adopted into her life, as part of that team, just to help, ground the energy. And we did the dedication of the Tupac Shakur Center there in Stone Mountain with her, and that whole, we were burning Agnihotra out there at the monument, the whole, I mean, there's been some very auspicious occasions. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up, presuming I find this track correctly here. We'll pull that up real quick. Give me one quick second, because this song is just so special. I know we've had the thought of maybe asking Erykah to get on a new version of it or things like that. We'll see how things evolve.
Yeah, I mean, though the funny thing is, while you pulling that up, a quick funny story is, as Ima Deborah adopted us into her life, she had the most talented daughters I have ever met as far as vocally. And one of them was Raquel.
Yeah.
And this is one of the first songs that we ended up producing with her. Yeah. And when she ended up playing it to Erykah Badu, Badu loved it. And she was like, we wanted her to hear it because we wanted her to get on the track. Right. So Badu was like, I want you to come on tour with me. You know what I'm saying? So basically toured the whole world with Badu based off of her hearing this demo,
Yeah.
hearing this song and just feeling the energy from it. So, yeah.
That's true. True story.
As things would unfold.
As things would unfold. I mean, it's a very auspicious time, that whole intersection of things. If I'm not mistaken, though, it's now been 13 years since Ima's transition.
Wow.
Yeah, if I think about it, because that was in 2008, right when I was, I did that Nas record with Stick. I played keys on the Nas record with Stick. That album came out that year, and then I went on tour to Australia with Kyrie Simmons and a whole band from Australia. Yeah, so a lot of overlap with Atlanta, and just that timing was just very, very powerful. Ima transitioning, and then Raquel going on tour for 3 or 4 years with Erykah Badu, like straight out of the gates. I mean, just, so as you said, Raquel Yave is one of the most talented vocalists we've had the pleasure of ever working with. And not only that, she's a family member to us. And so we really give,
as well as
give great thanks. And her sister Yandala, absolutely. Absolutely. The whole family, man, just sacred beings, So we big up the whole family. And in light of that, and the celebration of Ima Deborah and her recent birthday anniversary, we want to go ahead and share with you all Mothership. No audio. Turn my mic down. My mic is down. So, quick question.
What's up?
Was there any audio?
I didn't hear any audio, no.
You didn't hear any audio. Okay, that's interesting. Let me try one quick time. I think what may have happened was, let me try one more time. This is live and direct. Thank you all out there. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I think that's what may have happened. Let's try one more time. Give it one more shot.
Okay.
It's worth it. Yeah. It's worth it. It's a lovely tune. We'll bring it back in. And tell me if there's any audio this time. Oh, boy.
We are a galactic people. We come from a galactic past, and we're headed for a galactic future. We are living in the space age.
The ship is taking off soon. Backlight, get on board. Step in, watch the door. Sit tight, let's explore. Get ready to take flight. Get with this cosmic trip. Mother Earth is a mothership. Better know when it's time to dip. She's heading out tonight. Gotta give, gotta live, gotta care, gotta teach, gotta reach, gotta learn, gotta love. No more time to be blind to the signs. Use your mind to remind you. From the streets to the stars to the sun and the moon, when it's time, gotta be in tune. 'Cause the ship is taking off soon.
Don't miss the flight, just get on board. Space like we fly when we see you. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight.
'Cause the ship is taking off soon. in race. Ain't got no time to waste. Turn on your inner space. We're headed towards the light. Get serious like the star. Where you going? Don't need no car. It's not far. It's in your heart. You can make it if you try. Gotta love, gotta live, gotta give and receive. Gotta flow with the G, gotta breathe. Be aware of the signs of the times. Use your mind to align you. Act like you know. From the streets to the stars to the sun and the moon. This time gotta be in tune. Cause the ship is taking off soon.
Space how we fly when we see you. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight.
Cause the ship is taking off soon.
These are the days we gon' sing about. Space high we fly when we see you. Mountain tops roar from the lion's mouth. Sit high we rise when we chant it. The negative icons ready come. Look up, can you see her? The mothership comes from all around. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight, just get on board. Space high we fly when we see you. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight.
From the streets to the stars to the sun and the moon. When it's time, gotta be in tune. Cause the ship is taking off now.
There we have it. Mothership featuring Raquel Yave, Brother Bless, and the one and only Ima Deborah. Wow. No matter how many times I hear that song, bro, I never get tired of hearing that song. It's just something about it.
The energy on it.
It's just
the energy on it is just. Woo,
it's like a warm embrace. It's high vibration, high resonance. Feels good. Feels good. That's right.
And we got a lot of witnesses, you know, from those who would come to the womb room or the movement, like, because we used to play it every night. Like,
every night, you know, it was the jam.
People would be like, "Oh, they'd be looking for it." Like,
exactly. I remember that night we had Ima Deborah there too. We carried her up the steps, you know, on the second floor of Javaology, the whole thing. And I'm wondering, was she there the same night as Mama Kali? I know Mama Kali attended as well. I remember one evening in specific with Mama Kali there too. So that space was very auspicious right there at Edgewood and Boulevard in Atlanta, on the same block as the King Center. That whole pillar of light where, you know, Martin and then Coretta, you know, laid to rest. Powerful, powerful vortex that people internationally visit from all over the world on that particular block. So where we were doing the womb room, there was so much energy. We were burning the Homa in there. So much energy going on in that space, man. What a vibration. So such an amazing thing. Now 13 years after her transition. Wow. It really was.
And a lot was birthed from it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very true.
More than we probably even know.
Yeah, likely so. So I want to turn attention now a little bit. You know, we were presenting the idea of the Polestar prophecy. You know, this is something we've talked about the past few weeks, something I wasn't aware of in the way that it's being presented now, that I do find, though, to be very resonant and very in alignment with other things that we see revealing and synthesizing in terms of awareness. And so with our event Align with Earth, we were able to include a beautiful 7-minute clip that I want to go ahead and show, and then perhaps we can have a conversation, because you've been spending a lot of time with Mama Kali, and you're very close with the family there, and Dr. Ando's family, and our brother Essex. Obviously, you all are collaborating in many ways. And I just want to play the clip and then have a little time to talk about this prophecy And then also share a bit about some of the auspicious things that have occurred for you and I since the conversation we had about that, and what's been accelerating, what's been revealing, and what bridges have been connected, which I think is very, very special for this time. So I'll go ahead and pull that screen up. Do you have any comments you want to make going into this screening?
Nope. Let's check it out, and then we'll chop it up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you out there to everybody tuning in to PR1328, and just grateful for your presence. And we will, see you on the other side. And this is a video segment featuring Mama Kali being interviewed by Bilal, sharing some beautiful, beautiful insights. This was shared initially on our Align with Earth event this past Earth Day, April 22nd. Red Crystal Moon. Day one, I might add, of the entrance to that Harmonic 33. So here we go.
Greetings, Planet Restoration and Earth Day Align event. I am so pleased to have been invited to come to speak with you today about what we all must do, which is to restore our planet and to realign ourselves with our Mother Earth and the planetary constellations and all of the planets of the solar system. We are just one, a minuscule one in this great, great Milky Way. And even in our own solar system, we're just a tiny speck. But yet, in the last 500 years, and especially the last 100 years, those elite on Earth have managed to destroy what has been preserved by the Aboriginal and Indigenous people for the millennia and millennia and millennia. Now that they have just about taken us into Never Never Land as far as the Earth's pollution and all of the changes that are going down, it's time for us, the original people, the Aboriginals of this planet Earth, and we are all over the Earth. Don't let anybody fool you. We are 90% of the people on Earth. And it is time for us to take our place and restore our beautiful planet to its original, beautiful, clean, inviting, productive Earth to live on. We are in the throes of a pole shift. The North Pole, which we all know the North Star now, because we all came up with the story about Harriet Tubman following the North Star to take the people out of slavery and go to the North. She's followed the North Star. Okay. So when I speak of the pole shift, what I'm saying is that the North Star is changing. So this is our time. We've got all this energy helping us. And the rise of the Ethiopian king. What does it say? Can you see this down here? Okay, Cephas is the Hebrew name for the constellation of Pikuhor of the Dendera zodiac. I'm sure many of you have already seen the Dendera zodiac, which is the first depiction of the zodiac that we ever saw, and that's in Egypt, okay? What they call Egypt. And the meaning is the crowned and enthroned. in the highest heaven. Cephas, the Ethiopian king. Cephas is the rising new pole star. See, these points are the points that came from the Cosmic Prophecies of San Francisco. Okay? 104, 189. You see, 104, 189. 104 points directly to Sirius. You see this bright star, you know, Sirius is our brightest star, aside from Polaris, which is the North Star. Okay, outside of that, Sirius is our brightest star in the sky. Okay, and they call it the dog star. You can see the image of the dog right here. Okay, and this is 104 and this is 189. And this 189 actually points to Virgo, the Virgin, or the Mother, the Great Mother. Okay? So this is how we arrived at this third point. And so that third point goes straight through Cephas, the Ethiopian king. And this is what actually made me curious and began to study who is Cephas and who is the Ethiopian king. Okay? So these numbers were all over the wall in the Cosmic Prophecies, and we had no idea what's 104, what's 189. And then one day, you know, I was very much into my yoga at that time. And right at the beach, when we were about to leave, I did one of these numbers and looked back and said, let me go look on my star map. And when I put those numbers in, it just...
The heavens opened up.
There you go.
It's right
the
there.
heavens opened up.
Wow.
Because then it was all revealed. So just a few days ago, Marco Rubio actually publicly came out and said that there are UFOs, unknown flying objects. They've come up with another name for it. I can't remember what the name is. But all over the military bases. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they came from, but they know that they can get here and we can't get there, wherever it is. So I really don't know who are the good guys. We do know that the mothership is here. And we also know that the mothership came to get her children. Perhaps that is to lift us up until that final shift.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. That bears repeating a few times. So the first thing that stood out for me, she said 104. And we know 104 is the Venus round of 8 times 13. So every Venus transit is 8 years, right? So when we had an initial transit took place from 2004 to 2012, there was one transit. The next transit was 2012 to 2020. And now 2020 to 2028 is the following transit, which is the window that we're doing these events and planning our strategies according to the Venus round of these Venus transit cycles. Now, she pointing to 104 is a very interesting thing because that's 52 times 2 is 104. So your first 52 years, according to the Galactic Maya, is your years of becoming. From birth to 52, you're becoming an elder, essentially. And then from 52 to 104, you're returning to source, essentially. That's the idea for the human experience generally. Those are some general mathematics of the potential, right?
That procession.
The procession of natural cycles, you know. And so it's definitely something. I mean, my own grandmother, lived to 105. So it does happen. There are those that make the full round in sync with Venus and that 104 that she's pointing to. And then to speak of the name Cephas, it's so funny. It reminds me, I went to Howard University. It reminds me of a brother who I knew my freshman year named Cephas. And I'd never heard anybody with that name before. Cephas from Chicago.
Interesting.
It's a real black name, like Cephas. You don't hear that name. I don't hear that name ever. But then when I hear the name and hear her say it, it's like, Cephas. It's like, a brother, obviously. Like it just has that energy to it.
Exactly.
So it's funny.
Exactly, it does.
And that's the return of the Ethiopian king, Cephas. So if I'm understanding what she's saying correctly, there's a Polestar shift happening right now, and we're actually in it. Please go ahead.
So, I mean, if I may, just to fill in some of the key gaps,
please,
for those who watch the event and who just watch this, the Cosmic Prophecies are some prophecies that were revealed to one of our elders, Dr. Ando, and his wife, Mama Kali, in San Francisco on the ocean breakwall. I forget the year. I think it may have been around like maybe 96 or somewhere around there. And Dr. Rondo was overcome with the feeling of his ancestors trying to tell him something. And he just felt the energy. So he began looking around and he saw this graffiti on the wall behind him, the ocean break wall. And him and his wife used to walk that course every day, though they never saw this graffiti, Though once his attention was drawn to it, he was able to see that there was some mystic symbols there, and that the message was coming from a very mystic, benevolent source. And so that's just to speak a little bit of the Cosmic Prophecies, and that's one of the works that I'm working on, bringing forth the Cosmic Prophecies again with Mama Kali, Essex, and really examining it. I have a YouTube page dedicated to it that I'm developing, and we're going to be delving into like really looking at more and more of the walls, because there's more pictures even coming out now that I've been able to unearth. And these are prophecies that weren't just for like one moment, and we're seeing them unfold to be true. Like, it's amazing. So when you hear her speak of the Cosmic Prophecies, this is what she's talking about,
Absolutely.
And it's been said that they're being transmitted. They were transmitted from Ptah. And even when you look at some of what looks like graffiti, some of it actually looks like projection, like it may have been projected on the wall, because there's like layers of projection. And from day to day, they'll change, or certain little pieces will be added on or taken away or totally swapped out. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. So just wanted to add that little piece. So yeah, there's more revelations. I mean,
there's a lot. There's lots of layers. Like a lot of these cosmologies, though, obviously, when we talk about the galactic signatures, that's just the very tip of the entry, the tip of the tip of the tip in knowing your galactic signature. That's like that's a pinky nail to the entire body of that knowledge base, right?
Exactly.
So similarly, in this little clip we've just seen, and the enormity and the depth of which this prophecy is containing, we are aware that there's layers and levels to this. And so obviously the sense I get is we want to be able to also share some things as we go along. I know we have highlighted some of it back in December 21st during the Great Conjunction, when we had Essex and Taj on the program, and we were revealing the series Codes music. We had a chance to see some of those images on that broadcast. I want to encourage people to look back at the December 21st broadcast on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Planet Restoration, to see some of those images Bilal's referencing right now from that ocean breakwall in San Francisco, from the experience that Dr. Ando and Mama Kali had in the 90s. And I think it's interesting just to note that parallel to that was the timing of Audrey in 96, 97, 98. I met her in 1998 in Washington, D.C. So literally polarly across the country. I met her in 98, and she was receiving the Now Time prophecies, literally. And in the Now Time prophecies, one of the standout things was, as Africa goes, so goes the planet. That was kind of one of the premises of the Now Time prophecies. And so, exactly. A lot of the weaving we've seen happen over the past 20 years since then is phenomenal.
Exactly. It's beautiful. And I kind of like to parallel the book Autobiography of a Yogi, because it's kind of what I was brought up off of. Though Dr. Ando is pretty much exact parallel there, because the ancestors sent him from Africa the same way, his Yogananda's Indian ancestors sent him, and masters sent him out here to do his works, and they both had mystic experiences and mystic connections that interweaved. So it's quite interesting. Another thing I was noticing was how she said Cepheus, which had to do with, I think she said Pete Coolhor. Though she said enthroned on the highest in the highest heavens, right? Was like the meaning, I think she said. Now, thinking of Ethiopia, I think of the Ark, right? When I think of the Ark, I think of, and this is how I think the throne in the highest heavens would look. You know what I'm saying? Similar to how the Ark would look, right? Now, in the event, our sister Marina Jacoby spoke of Hathor, the rising of Hathor and that timeline and that energy, So if you see the Ark, you see Hathor there, or Divine Mother with her wings right there, So just weaving it all in is just to say that this shift of time, it's all aligned, it's all aligned. The Ethiopian king and the Hathor queen as well. It's a timeline going.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. I think it's interesting too. If we look geographically, we think about astrocartography, right? Michelle and I have been looking into that recently, like sort of the alignments of your zodiac. She's talking about the Dendera zodiac as well, right? The original zodiac upon which the Babylonian zodiac is likely based, right? So in light of that, though, when we look at these intersecting points, for example, of Atlanta, of DC, as I said, with Mama Audrey, and then San Francisco, for example, where the Cosmic Prophecies were being revealed in the 90s. And, that trajectory, that triangulation of just San Francisco, DC, and Atlanta, or what to say of LA in the mix as well, being that's where we're grounding the energy from currently. And we know you're from this area, right? And then you span to Atlanta, right? And just dealing with Turtle Island alone, what to speak of relations in the Gambia or South Africa or other parts of the world. But what's interesting, though, is because there is a conversation now about Ethiopia really coming to the surface and recognizing the through line. When I was doing my cartography the other evening, I don't remember which planets in my cartography, but 2 of them pass right through Ethiopia. And so given, and I didn't know that until we were looking into it the other night, and then given what's being shared with us now, both from Mama Kali as well as Mama Audrey. Now, Mama Audrey about 10 years ago was invited to go to Lalibela in Ethiopia to into the tunnels, into the churches, which are considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. These rock-hewn churches, that are major, shall we say, architectural feats that are attributed to King Lalibela during his reign. Now, I don't know. I haven't done enough research. Maybe some of our listeners know out there. They could certainly share their knowledge in the comments. We would love to learn more together. In relationship, though, to, as you're saying, there's the return of the African king, the Hathor, or the what does Mama Kali say? She says a specific thing too, like what's the name again that she mentions? We have Cephas, but then we have another name.
She said, Rimka, no.
Something to that effect. We'll listen to back. But the
which
point is,
spoke of the Dendera,
the Dendera zodiac.
Calendar?
Yeah.
Zodiac, yeah. Yeah, I almost want to say Paka, but it's something like that.
Pikuhor, exactly. Something to that effect. Yeah. But exactly. The point is, it's interesting that all these things are emerging now during sort of the window when the prophecies are kind of being, in a way, revealed to humanity now, because there are certain ancient prophecies. Now there are certain now time prophecies that are, emergent in this past generation.
Look at this. Pikuhor, right? Hathor, right?
Exactly.
Pakao.
Exactly. You're reading my mind. And there's a peak. There's a who would be able to share more about this would be Ruben, but there's a peak arcane terminology as well that shows up in that cosmovision, which was a large gathering that took place some years ago about this emergent recollection and restoration of natural time. That's all a part of this sort of shift in consciousness as you're talking about. And so I think it's very special. We can share that with the audience right now. And what's more, in light of the Cosmic Prophecy, in light of this Polestar shift, recently, because Mama Audrey had visited Lalibela before, as I was mentioning, in our conversations leading up to Align with Earth, it occurred to me, she mentioned that she wanted to reach out to a young man named Tariq Bey, who is a leader in the community there in Lalibela, where they have an eco-village called the Bethan Amba Eco-Village, which is just right outside of Lalibela. And she had visited there years ago and had been kept up to date by this young man with what they were doing along the lines of creating an eco-village that was combining ecotourism to bring sustainable practices to the local farmers and villages right there. And they were in the process of great development, things beginning to happen. And then obviously COVID came along and that put a halt on everything. And so as a result, this community has been really sorely affected in, very, seriously, to the degree where even getting their food stuffs together has become a complication because everything is shut down, basically. So they do have structures there. They do have plans for how they will continue to progress and even, move through the current dilemma, but they are in desperate need of support. And so in her sharing this with me, it was right after you and I discussed Mama Kali's prophecy of this Polestar shift relating to Ethiopia and the return of the king. And then me having the conversation with Audrey from the community of Lalibela, where she told me years ago that, the sacred relics you're speaking of are kept. And it's interesting, and she can't say anything more about it. She is not allowed to talk about it because it's obviously of a very high order, these things, because we're essentially talking about now the transit of the Ark of the Covenant out of Israel into Ethiopia. by Menelik, his son, his firstborn son, born of the Queen of Sheba. That's some pretty powerful things to factor in when we consider some of the roots of Israel, as well as then the descendants of Solomon, including Menelik, including the Ethiopian nation, right? So these things are no small things. And we recognize now in the balance of the worlds, what's underway is a shift, not only a pole shift astronomically, but a shift in balance of world power and what actually reflects that power in terms of global finance or relationship to the land or things of this nature. So it's very interesting what we're actually witnessing in real time happening right now. There is absolutely a shift of so-called power that's underway. And it doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily obvious unless you know what you're looking for. And in a way, these prophecies are indicators of what we're looking for as indications of the fulfillment of these prophecies of returning life to balance, because that's really what this is about.
Exactly. And we're speaking of a sacred land as well. The same way as, if you're reading the autobiography of Yogi, he's speaking of his sacred land, his sacred motherland. Yes. Like, for instance, Dr. Rondo has some accounts where, he was contacted from Hawaii, from a channel in Hawaii, that there was someone who needed to see him in the Ethiopian highlands, right?
Somebody from Hawaii told him this.
Someone from Hawaii, okay? So feel that connection, that planetary connection. So he gets there, and out of faith, step by step, he finds someone who could guide him to the highlands. And him and Mama Kali, they meet an Ethiopian prophet, Prophet Kasa, who unveils to them this mystic stream. It's like you can only see it. It's like a spiritual stream. And he actually allowed them to take some of the waters from this spiritual stream to share with, like, the cultural community of Atlanta and, like, people in the hood. And, when you get back to America, when you get back to the world, share this water, with them. So, yeah, it's just to say, these are mystic lands. It's a mystic land. And like Mikuak said, if you're on time, if you know what you're looking for, if you're sensitive, you want to be at the right place and the right time. And, when the right opportunities are presented to you to be able to give and offer, and to be a part of something where the shift is headed, it's great to be alert to that, because, like we said, this is the new Polestar. This is the shift.
Wow. Now, Ishel just pulled up for us a little bit of background information I want to share here, where it says Pikuhor means, quote, this one cometh to rule, end quote. It also means, quote, the branch, the Redeemer coming quickly. The birds are flying north instead of south now because Cepheus, or Pikuhor, is taking his place as the pole star. So I wanted to mention that, and thank you, Ishel, for bringing that up for us so we could kind of just clarify Pekuhor, Pekuhor, for anybody that wants to research that on their own. But that is the name from the Dendera zodiac, from which this, and this is from Mama Kali's notes directly, specifically. So this is from the notes we see in the video where she's depicting this across the screen. There was a nice look in the video that you shot with her. So to help clarify for people just the definition behind and the spelling of these names that you may be hearing for the first time. So without further ado, and as Bilal's saying, like, this is an awesome opportunity. We saw the auspicious alignment as we were preparing for Align with Earth, to have the opportunity to be of service to a community actually in this ancient land, holding and containing this most auspicious energy high in the mountains near Lalibela, where they have a true eco-village, where this community is coming online using new and regenerative ancient practices together, where they want to install solar panels right on top of their earthen huts, right on top of their earthen structures right there, as well as they have their own obviously growing cycles and seasons and things like this that they understand about their timing. And right now, in fact, is a window where they're beginning planting, and they need the money, they need the resources to be able to buy proper equipment to help them expedite and facilitate working with the land. And anybody involved in urban or rural agriculture can certainly understand the cost and the need for these types of equipment to facilitate something for a village of people. And you're talking probably hundreds of people in that particular enclave, what to mention others in the area that are all related in some ways because of the church traditions and the Orthodox, Ethiopian Orthodox Christian Church and the whole thing, Coptic Christianity, everything happening there. There are needs to be met. And because this is part of the root of our collective story, we're inspired to do whatever we can as a platform to raise awareness and to inspire our community, both in the United States here in Turtle Island, as well as worldwide, to give a little bit if you can. And no amount is too small. I want to share a special video that features Mama Audrey, again, who is a woman who initiated this relationship with Tariq Bey and his community, Bethan Amba in Lalibela, Ethiopia. So let's check the video out and we'll come back to wrap it up. Go ahead, Bilal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, this is what Planet Restoration is all about, amplifying regenerative arts and culture so that, you all can be aware of these great things going on and be a part of this relationship that we're moving into, because we're getting to know them, and we want you to be a part of that relationship as far as reciprocity, giving, receiving, because at the right time, you better know we're going to be making trips, even for those who do travel, who do have travel agencies and, things like that. These are the type of relationships you definitely want to have and want to build. And this is the family that we're building. So, be a part.
Absolutely. And we thank you for your support of our relations, our relatives in Ethiopia right now. And without further ado, we'll air that video. And thanks everybody for tuning in and staying tuned.
Greetings. I am Audrey Scott Williams, and it is an honor and a pleasure to have an opportunity to invite you to be a part of a project that I think is more than a project. It's adopting a community led by a young leader who has great vision and great passion for his community. And he has been reaching out, asking for help, asking for assistance. Tariq Bey from Lalibela has for years been working on and evolving an eco-village outside of Lalibela. And over the years, he's shared his visions. We've talked about solar panels and how we might support him and the community in getting some solar panels for the facilities they're creating. He's sent pictures throughout the years to show me how the housing is developing and the different projects that they're working on. The sustainable village that they're creating, the eco-village, is also an eco-tourist site. So tourists can come, they can experience what they're doing, they can participate in the projects there. Well, since COVID, of course, there's been no tourism, and the impact has been nearly devastating on the community. It has impacted limited access to food, and limited access to resources, limited access to many of the things that we take for granted. So we decided to put our heads together, Tariq Bey, Planet Restoration, I've been working with Mikuak, to create a fundraiser to help with the continuation of this project. I think it's very important. Eco-villages are so important and can make a difference in the life of a community, especially in rural areas such as this. So long story short, I invite you to participate, and no gift is too small and no gift is too large. We want to have our community of sisterhood and brotherhood here in the U.S. and around the world join together to support the eco-village that Tariq Bey and his community have begun. You will see on this site images of the facilities that they've built. You will also hear from Tariq the passion that he has for the project and what the overall vision is going forward. But whatever that vision is, it can only happen if they can attract enough support to not only be sustainable, to feed their community, but also to be able to continue with the work that they started years ago. So I'm on board. In fact, I've already participated in the giving and will continue to do so. And I just want you to be a part of our team, making a difference in the world, one community at a time, making a difference out of the passion in our heart, out of our dream for a world that works for all. So join us here at Planet Restoration. All of the information is here on the site. And give something to help support our friends in Lalibela. This is Audrey Scott Williams saying thank you.
That's right. Mama Audrey.
Mama.
Saying thank you. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a beautiful video, and I think a sincere and wonderful appeal. And we'll aim to actually get Tariq Bey onto our broadcast here in the near future so people can actually hear from him directly. We certainly encourage people to visit the link that Ishel has put in the chat on our Facebook, I assume. So on Facebook, look for the link for the GoFundMe account. We've just literally launched it today. It's brand new. You're seeing it here first. And it'll be ongoing, fortunately, because we do have a goal of $9,000 right now just to help raise that amount of money, which will go for farm equipment to some degree and other needs just to help them continue in the planting and harvest season. So, we certainly invite you to, again, visit the GoFundMe link. We'll be posting it on our social media platforms as well. You can find us on IG at planet_restoration. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Planet Restoration. And you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Planet Restoration. So we're not hard to find. We're out there. And appreciate love the support, any support you can give. And support also includes sharing this appeal broadly with your networks and circles. Because if everybody gives something, then obviously we can meet our goals. Even a small amount will accumulate if we're able to, reach out to a lot of people who have a heart to give and an understanding of how important this is and how related we all are, in fact. So I don't know if you want to say anything there as well, anything that came across to you as you saw that video.
Well, one thing I was going to mention is just even adding some energy to a positive project like this, to an eco-village like this, is a lean towards something more natural, something more beautiful. And one thing that I noted when I was looking at their website is how some of the tours are like, it'll say, by donkey or walking, you can get to this church or you can get to this special place or here or there, and from my time in the Gambia, I spent some time living in the Gambia, at least 3 years in West Africa. I did a lot of walking and it was so beautiful. It's like, it's a shift back to nature. It's a shift back to a natural energy, and so just to think, like, if it may say like an hour walk, our Western mind may say, hour walk, though imagine a natural world where we're walking more. We have more time to to get to know each other, to talk to each other. We have more time in between where we're going and where we are to enjoy nature, to breathe. The exercise is there, you know. So it just that small thing made me think, like, you know, some of the things that may deter someone from traveling across the seas or traveling to Africa. Oh, is it going to be too hot? Am I going to have to walk? Or is it going to be? It's like, those are the things that are beautiful about life. Like, you know, the sunshine, you know what I'm saying? The being able to walk, being able to be in nature, but not feel like heebie-jeebied, and being able to experience it and enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
So that was some of the thoughts when I looked at the website. I was like, this is the shit.
It's very rootical. I mean, if you look at those pictures of the Eco-Village, I mean, these are earthen homes. These are not like advanced condominiums with the latest, you know, Tesla battery, you know, wall and all these fancy innovations. This is legitimate restoration of a way of life that's in harmony with nature. And the fact is, that is what is being called. You know, we're being called to that. You know, many of us who are waking up to this idea of what it means to restore the planet. It is a matter of actually restoring our awareness of these existing practices that have been around for millennia before all the Western ideology became dominant, and the things like this that we're now just beginning to realize we've been encumbered by, and we've been limited by, we've been actually enslaved by in many cases. So what you're describing for some may come across as like an inconvenience of, oh my God, I got to walk an hour in the heat or something like this. But they're missing the real point of liberation back to nature, you know? And so, yeah, you do go to a place like that. You're not going to necessarily expect to catch an Uber or a Lyft. You're going to catch a donkey. And you're going to learn to love it. You're going to learn to love and develop a relationship with that donkey that is actually serving to reintegrate you into tune with nature, into the frequency of nature. And what's more, though, it's a detox. It's a detoxification from all the technology that we have basically attached or affixed or hanging out of ourselves, our energetic fields, because of the way that we are, you know, the circumstances we find ourselves in now. So to go to a place like that, it's like really, really instantly on the timeline going back to what you may perceive to be the past, when in fact, it's actually the future. To go there now is to go into the future, like you said, because these ideas, these ways of life are what are being restored. These are the vibrations in sync with nature and its own evolution of itself. These are the things that are going to be present in the new earth, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would say, even give to that place with the thought in mind that, you know, we're in this Cepheus shift, and, you know, if you have a plan to go to a beautiful area that's aligned with this shift, you know, then say, okay, I'm going to be going there a year out. How can I add energy there so by the time I'm there, me and my crew, whoever I go with, you know, we get to experience what was given. Exactly. And the love will be shown back, from at least from what I've experienced in Africa. You know, anything that we've given to the people, the love comes back like times 7. So, you know,
that's a
be
fact.
A part.
That's a fact, my brother. That is a fact. Well, I tell you what, this has been a really beautiful, beautiful conversation today. I'm really grateful for this, man. And, you know, I know we're going on an hour and a half at this point, but it doesn't even feel like it, honestly. I feel wonderful. I feel like we're just moving in sync, you know, and flow with what wants to come through. Yeah. But I think we definitely touched on the things we intended to. And as we move forward, I'm looking forward to unpacking more about the prophecies that you're exploring with Mama Kali, and looking forward to sharing with folks the archives that you're building on YouTube about that research and presenting that information to the world. Very excited for that. Want to give a shout out to our brother Essex, who I know you're working directly with on these things. And, big up fleekofnature.com, fleekofnature.com, so that people can get their personal plant life in sync, and with household plants and other knowledge and information that really is rooted in Dr. Ando's wisdom and through the archives of his knowledge that I know you also have projects to help digitize and bring into formats for people to benefit from and to get involved in all sorts of things, eventually certificate programs with holistic wellness and things of this nature. All these things will be soon come on the radar for folks, and we look forward to helping amplify that here on Planet Restoration. So I don't know if you have any closing comments you want to share, and then we'll go check the outro.
I mean, we can't speak of the Ethiopian king without speaking the name of the great Haile Selassie. True. And big shout to him and his family, anyone connected to the great Haile Selassie,
Absolutely.
As well as the Marley family,
Yes. Big things.
Yeah, have to shine light on the kingdom.
Big things.
And I know even on the program, I think maybe you had someone that was connected to Haile Selassie.
We had actually Mama Inyame Selassie, who herself was a Black Panther, as you mentioned, Baba Bilal Sunni Ali as a former Black Panther. Mama Inyame Selassie was also from Detroit and was part of the Black Panther movement in the 60s. And then in her own evolution, she really became very learned and became part of the Rastafari community and really observing the Nazarene rites in her own regard and respect. And I met her in 2006, actually, when Mama Audrey and the Global Peace Walk went through Palenque, and Taj and I were there together with Mama Inyame Selassie. And at that point, it was interesting because she was speaking of the relationship between Haile Selassie's wife and also Mother Tanetta Muhammad. And these are parallels and intersections we'll explore on future episodes and hopefully bring Inyame Selassie in to talk about these things in her own words. Would rather hear it directly from her, frankly. But there is a connection, as we well know, between the Nation of Islam, Mama Tanetta Muhammad, the number 19, and the work of Dr. Jose Arguelles. And one of the reasons he came to Atlanta was to directly make the connection with the Black community, the ancestors and the descendants thereof of the traditional Olmec Maya, right? That come out of these traditions. But we also know the Maya as a seafaring people who brought the knowledge and coordinates out of Dogon, which came out of Kemet. So all these things retrace back to the future. So these positories of knowledge from Timbuktu across the oceans into, the Olmec and the Mayan lands, and obviously several iterations, and then the Shivites going the other direction, in the other direction into India and the Asiatic black man, so to speak, or the Naga Babas and the relationship. It's amazing how, if we really observe it, the entire consciousness of roots and culture has long encircled the earth. It's been embracing around the equator of the planet. And this is part of what's actually being reactivated in the modern mind now, is to, again, return to nature, get back in sync and in tune with nature. And that's one of our objectives here, is to help resensitize the Western mind to what that can look like as we together co-create this regenerative future, And so, absolutely, ashe ho. So we're in it, man. That's the work of our lifetime, and such an honor to be in it together with you, brother, and all the family who's here for this, who's here for these works, bro. So with that said, we invite you to check out planetrestoration.info. Big up to Ishel Esta, who's keeping us on track, on point, always. And the family out here, want to definitely give our love to Mama Kali, and just Mama Moringa, and give thanks for the blessings that she is, and Mama Audrey as well. We're so blessed. Want to give a shout out to our Baba Kwame Sunhorse, who's watching right now and who appeared in the episode Align with Earth on Earth Day. So we invite people to visit Planet Restoration on YouTube, youtube.com/Planet Restoration. Like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the video. Share it with your people who you think would resonate with this, and anybody you feel compelled to. We really appreciate the support and amplification ourselves. So with that, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other out there. Love and gratitude, y'all. Big up, respect. Bless up.
Exactly.
Give a platform to it. Going in, PR lives. Live to the whole world. Going in live.
1328, we activate regenerative consciousness. 1328, 13 moons and 28 days, yeah. 1328, we activate regenerative consciousness. 1328,
So amplify regenerative arts and culture, basically.
Exactly.
Give a platform to it. Going in, PR lives. Live to the whole world. Going in live.
1328, we activate regenerative consciousness. 1328, 13 moons and 28 days, yeah. 1328, we activate regenerative consciousness. 1328.
So we have the ability to be the media that we actually want to see, what we actually want to amplify or create in the world.
Bring forth those frequencies. Bring forward great minds and a lot of solutions.
As we really look at, how do we get where we are and where do we want to go from here? Where do we really see ourselves going?